Yeah, lovely that you've made your time and be here with us today for our webinar on the latest released app of Immersive Elements, where we will show you an extensive demo and the background behind it. And yeah, hopefully you will get good insights on that. But first, let me quickly introduce myself to you. I'm Marie. I'm at Shopware since 5 years now. I'm working as a product manager, and I'm mainly responsible for spatial commerce. And I've been the project manager during the development of the app of Immersive Elements. Hey, Daniel.
Hi. So I'm Daniel. I'm the CEO of Instorior and one of the co-founders. And I'll be giving a short introduction afterwards.
Yeah, and I'm Björn. I'm also a co-founder of Instorior and a creative developer. And together we've made Immersive Elements, and we're quite excited to show you it.
Great. Just quickly have the same base for the next following 45 minutes. I will do a quick introduction of why we think building such an app is very important as of now and how spatial commerce will develop in future. Then the Instaria guys will take you through an extensive demo of the immersive elements and how you can build nice shopping experiences with it. And in the end, we have time for a 10 minutes Q&A. So make sure if you have questions during the time to note them down to yourself, and you will have time afterwards to get them answered by us. All right, but first of all, some facts and figures about Shopware for those of you who are not familiar with us as a company. We mainly develop software for the people who use it, and the people who use it are shop owners and merchants out there. And we really foster a spirit of open and transparent community. So we have like a big partner network and already a big system and community of developers and agencies out there who are in love with the Shopware spirit that is rooted in Schöppingen, a very small town in Germany, close to Münster. And this is also where our roots are. That's why we are authentic, visionary, and open. And this is really our DNA and why we build stuff and why we love to work here. Our Shopware product is e-commerce software that is used in a wide range of industries, some mid-size products or mid-size companies to large companies are using our software. Successful brands such as Armed Angels, Philips, or Bet1 in Germany are using Shopware to successfully launch and host their online shop. But now let's get into it of the topic of spatial commerce and immersive elements. So why do we think it's important? We think that the new era we are entering in commerce will hold the rise of spatial and AI. Spatial and AI are two technologies that will make the shopping experiences out there more human and more natural in future. So the future will be augmented, immersive, and realistic 3D. And combined with AI, which understand and can predict we might are looking for, this really becomes a whole new era of how we shop online. So shopping will become way more intuitive, but also way more interactive. To sum it a bit up, we as Shopware see that the commerce of future will be separate in two kinds of buckets. One is that the commerce will be way more assistant-led. So that means non-emotional goods that you buy every day or every month, like your toothbrush or something that is not very emotional that you maybe buy today on Amazon and you have to search and filter and look for, will be automated. So you have your AI and your assistant on hand who will do that stuff for you, so you can focus on the ones that get you attracted, that get you emotional triggered. And that is the second bucket we see, that the online shopping world will be way more experience-led. So people are not looking for searching, filter, and buying products. They are looking for buying experiences, interacting with your brand, and yeah, they will become more immersive and interactive. And most of the analysts out there believe that's why spatial and AI will become a new multi-billion-dollar market. And so many retailers, merchants, and brands believe that especially spatial commerce will be a key factor of that, and that's why we are focusing on that today. And why we think spatial commerce can help you to scale up your business. One is that it can be a huge factor of reducing returns and costs. So imagine you've bought a product and it doesn't fit into your room, or it's too big or too small, it doesn't fit your body, and augmented reality and virtual try-on and 3D can help a lot to make a buying decision in first place. It is way more focused on facts and figures, and it is way more easier and can reduce the returns and frustrations of your customers. And you're able to expand sample products and variants of your products items at a scale. So if you want to show a product that you don't have in stock right now, or you are currently in developing a product that is still in manufacturing processes, it's very easy when you have it in 3D already that you can put it out there, get it time to market as soon as possible, and already get feedback from your customers. And third, which is also playing a big role of today, is that spatial commerce can help you have a unique customer experience. So you can make your customer interact with your brand, with your products, and can really stand out from the crowded market. And as this unique customer experience today often requires still a lot of cost, a lot of development, a lot of work from your team, we are trying to build extensions such as Immersive Elements to help you make that more easier and way more cost effective. Sorry. Yeah, we want you to enable to make the first steps into this new era. And we want you to make a first step into a more immersive and more interactive way of online shopping that you can integrate in your store already today. And that's why we partnered up with Instaria, as they are experts in building emotional storytelling pages. And that's why we built up this beautiful app called Immersive Elements, which the two guys will show you now.
So, yeah, as Marie said, Immersive Elements is the new app that we developed together with Shopware for experience-driven spatial commerce, with the aim to make it easier than ever to create product pages that work in both traditional 2D, but also in VR with like Apple Vision Pro or Meta Quest 3. So I'll share my screen and begin giving some advice on getting started with Immersive Elements and some quick tips to make sure you get the most out of the application. So when you're logged into the Shopware admin, you'll find the in the extensions and go to the store. You'll find the app by searching for Immersive Elements. Now, I already have it installed here, but it should appear. And then in the top right corner, you can click Add Extension, and you should, after some steps, be good to go. But how do you then actually use Immersive Elements? If you go to Content and Shopping Experiences, and I'm going to just create a new landing page for this, and select full width, give it a name. You'll find that all of the Immersive Elements blocks are in the Commerce block category. And you can, of course, also access the Immersive Elements via if you add any element and click here, Replace Element, But yeah, you can find them here, but we're going to give you some good reasons why you should always use one of the Immersive Elements blocks directly, as that has some benefits. And also, to make sure we get the best looking result, I'm also going to set the sizing mode here to full width. And I'll just go ahead and get started by adding the simplest immersive elements, which is the VR cinema. And it's simple, but it's powerful. So, and here you also see that there are some elements or some configurations that are kind of the same or similar across all the different elements. This is what we call section settings. You can select the background color, and you can select if you want to have a logo or just a normal title for your title. You can select the title tag, of course, and also some other settings that has to do with like the font size and colors and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just select an image here that I have and add a title. And we can see it showing up here in the preview. Now, if I save this and I assign this layout, let's see, to the, actually, I'm going to go to the overview here for the categories and click here and assign it from here. Select the new layout that we just created, hit save, and go to the storefront. We should see it here already. But one immersive elements is not necessarily the most impressive in of itself. The magic really starts to happen when you add more of them. And to do this, we also recommend that instead of creating a new section for each of the elements, and I'm going to show you how that looks like, just to make the point. So let's add another VR cinema, add another image, give it a title so we can see which is which, and also, of course, make it full width because that's the best looking. And if we go here and refresh, you'll see that we have the entire first section. And then there's like this hard line, and the next one begins. Now, when you add it to the same section instead, so I'm going to go into the navigator and drag this one into the topmost section and just go ahead and delete the bottom one and hit save. We get some strange errors, but that's fine. And now we go refresh. Oh, it's not there. That's what happens when you do a live demo. Let's do a quick refresh here. And add it again to the section here. Give it an image. And title. Now, if we hit save and refresh, you can see that instead of there being a hard cut, we get this smooth transition between the two. And this goes for all of the immersive elements. As long as they belong to the same block or same section, I mean, you'll have this nice transition between them. And this especially makes a huge difference when you enter VR mode, because then you don't have to like exit VR mode between the different immersive elements. You can just go to the next one. Now, I also wanted to just give a quick overview of the different immersive elements that we have available. As I expect you will, I have added them to my favorites. So VR cinema, I already showed you. This is a really good one for like giving a huge close-up of your product. And the next one I'm gonna add several images at once. And you can see how this looks. This is the cylinder gallery. And as with the VR cinema, you can see it's quite similar how the settings are, but we also have some additional ones that we can select the aspect ratio, for example, to make the images appear different. And we also have the depth gallery, which is really nice to give to show multiple images at once of various details of your product without it being too overpowering. And here it actually looks best if we add a bit more photos, actually. So you can just imagine that these are nice product photos. And here you can also, you have the same settings as before, in addition to this setting called the position randomness, where you can change this to vary how the visual appearance will be. And we recommend that you experiment a bit with that. The 3D model journey is one of the more advanced elements that we have, where you can add an element. Sorry, you upload your GLB file of your 3D model, and you can then start setting up various snapshots. So let's say this is one, then you can zoom in by scrolling, you can change the camera bits, you can move the camera, and you can even move the 3D model. Just know that when you move the model, it appears that way in all of the sections. You can move the camera and you'll see now. If we hit save and we scroll down here, you can see it goes from the first camera angle to the next one. And you can also add hotspots and various things to really give an in-depth look at your product. And next immersive elements is the slide behind gallery. And this one is a good way of, it's kind of similar to VR cinema, but it'll give this like really huge, kind of like in your face view of the images. And this one, it looks really good in VR as well. Let's see. So you get this like depth feeling of the images as they go down. And now if we save this and we go back to the storefront, get a little sneak peek of how easy it is to create this type of experiences. And also how quick it is. And if you had a VR headset, then you would have a button up here where you could just enter VR mode and you'd have this as a fully immersive experience. Now I'll hand it over to Björn, who will give you a bit more in-depth demo and building up something that looks quite cool.
Yeah, so what we wanted to show you next was the hero experience that we created together with a very cool company, YT Industries. They're a bike frame company with different bike parts, and we created this landing page for them using both immersive elements and combined with some of their design aesthetics. So I'll quickly go through the site as it is now. To start by using a VR cinema component here, and then they go over to use actually a VR cinema here as well, except we don't have an image, but it creates a nice transition between these two sections. We use the depth gallery that Daniel showed you with a nice scrolling animation. And here's a 3D model, which you can have be interactive if you want to have that. You can also add hotspots, as Daniel told you. When you click on a hotspot, that opens up so you can read more information. The scene builder, where you create the different snapshots, lets you zoom in on specific parts, so you can create a story revolving around your 3D model. and give the user a more in-depth experience. So here we also have the slide behind gallery, and finally it ends up with the cylinder gallery component, which also is interactive. These are the immersive elements blocks that are used for this specific page, but they're also combined with some design elements from the YT Industries page themselves. So you can combine both the VR Cinema into your existing template. So what we wanted to show you now was just how to create a layout looking like this. So I quickly go over to the editor, and here we have the starting point showing the existing blocks that they have on their sites, which looks quite nice. And the way you begin is just as Daniel showed you, begin by expanding and showing the block category commerce, and then you can see the 5 immersive elements blocks. So what I'm going to do first now is to create a new section where the immersive elements blocks can live, and this should be a full width section, and we'll also modify that to be a full width sightseeing mode. So just as Daniel showed you, you find the element that you want to begin with. In this case, we want to start with the VR cinema and simply drag it in here. What you do then is just to click here on the element and on the cog icon, and that opens the settings. And here I can start adding the different media that I have. So I've prepared a folder, and in this case, we're going to upload a video. It's a WebM file. It's quite large, so we have to wait a little while it loads. But in the meantime, I'm going to figure out which background color we want to set for our section. So right now we have set it to a white background color. I'm going to change that. The video is added. I'm going to change that to a blue one. And we're going to add our title as well as our lead paragraph. So let me quickly just copy the text, paste it in here. And when I now click done, you can see that we have this section here. It already looks quite nice. So just save and just check that the site that we're working on is actually updating. It is. Now we have a first immersive element block. So it's really fast. If you have the assets ready and you know what you want to make, it's just start dragging in blocks. So for the second block, we'll also use a VR cinema. I'll just drag it in here just below the first. But in this case, we're not going to add an image here. Instead, we're just going to add a background color, and we'll change it to a layout type of, instead of being a title, we'll choose an image because I'm going to show a small logo here, which is a cool little design element that the YT industries have. Because you can set the size of the image. Right now it's 30% of the screen width. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller to make it have more impact. So you can choose a different size on desktop and mobile if you want to do that. And for the text here, we're going to paste a long paragraph. So let's just click done first to see how it looks. Now, this is cool in and of itself. It's just a simple section. But if you want to give it more depth, like the one that you saw here, you see there are some small design elements in the background that moves as you move the cursor. You can do that by actually adding some 360 background images. So I'll click on Add Media here, click on the media icon, and I have something that I call bibobs. I'm just going to add these 3 small design elements. You'll see it when I upload it. And when I now click done, and click save, you'll be able to see that we have some small design elements in the background as well. That gives a little bit more life into the story itself. And later I'm going to show you the VR mode where it really shines. So for the next section, we're going to use a depth gallery. We're in the commerce category, and here is the depth gallery. Drag it in just like we do with all the other sections. We'll also add a background color here. And again, I have a folder prepared, so just hang on until I find the depth gallery. We'll upload a good amount of images. If you have more, it looks better. And we'll add in a title. And now before we do anything else, let's just see what the default looks like. So here we have a sparse set of images. And just as Daniel showed you, there are a lot of configurations that we can do to change the layout of the images. One thing is to edit the position randomness, but you can also say that the images that we have should repeat a lot of times. So if I change this number to 18, for instance, click done and go outside, you can see that we have a longer section with more images. And there are a lot of parameters even within this section of how these images should be placed and generated. For instance, now it tries to use 4 columns. We can change that to 8 columns. That would create a more chaotic look if we want to have that, smaller images. And basically, we wanted to give you as many possible options to create the own layout that you want yourself. I think for now, we'll just leave it at the default setting with 8 columns. And let me go back just to see if it's properly saved. Yes, done. We click save here. And now for the star of the show, YT Industries has a really cool 3D model that they use to show their bike frames. And to make that shine, we're going to use the 3D model journey to show how that is being set up into a proper cool little experiment. So the first thing we have to do is upload a 3D model. We have 3D model from YT Industries, and when you've uploaded that, you are able to click to content to see how it looks. The first thing I'm going to do before we move into the content is also to set a background color for this section, because that really sells the experience. So right now you can see the 3D model here. My immediate impression is that is a bit too large for the frame. So what I want to do is to make it smaller. What I do then is to click on it, and then we have some option to either move it around, you can scale it or rotate it, but we want to start by scaling it down until we have it in view. And remember, this screen that you see now is going to fill the entire screen, so don't worry if it looks a bit too small here. So this looks good. And now, as Daniel told you, if you want to change the camera angle that you see, you can simply click and drag. And when you have a camera angle that you're happy with, in this case, I'm going to zoom a little bit in using the scroll wheel. You can click Save Camera, and then you should have a 3D model locked in this position. We have some other options. You can also edit the lighting. And then you have a lot of different lighting presets you can choose from here. I'm going to choose the studio lighting. And when I now scroll up, you can see that it has some nice lights. I can even increase the intensity a bit just to see it. The lighting is automatically saved when you edit that, and a lighting preset is saved for every section. So if I now want to create a journey around the 3D model, I can do add snapshot. And here I can choose what the focus should be in this specific snapshot. So I'm going to zoom in on this part here. Let's call that Thirstmaster 6000. And we'll add some text to it as well. And now, if I save the camera, we should have a new section. I'll quickly add a third section that focuses on this storage part here, which is also really cool. In this case, I'm going to give it a title that I already have here, which is called Stash Downtube Storing, where you can store the goods. And simply by going through and adding sections, you can really highlight different parts of the 3D model and create a journey around that. Now, finally, for the last section, I want the users to be able to spin it around and interact with it. So the first thing I want to do is zoom out so we can see the entire bike. We'll change the angle a little bit by holding Shift and drag. And when I'm happy with that, I can click again, Save Camera. And now I can click this toggle here called Enable Interactivity. That will allow the users to click and drag to spin around the 3D model. And just to give a hint that you actually can spin it, I'm going to add a title here. And for now, let's just click done and see what we have this far. So we have this section here. When I start to scroll in it, you can see that we have the first section with text that we added. Then we have the down to storage and the spin it to flip it. So what I immediately saw was that the down to storage that I didn't save the camera properly. So I'm going to go back here. Let's see if this is the correct section. It is. I'm going to go here, zoom in, click save camera, and then click done. So if I now go back to the down to storage, you can see that we have it here. Now, if we now click save, go into the experience that we are creating, we should be able to see that all the blocks tie nicely together. And we have the 3D model journey as well here. And you can do this for any 3D model. You can see here when we get to the spin and flip it section, the user can actually click and drag it. And it's a really cool way to create agency-looking websites without using a lot of resources in terms of developer time or money. So just to quickly wrap it up, I'm going to add one last section using let's add two sections actually. Let's show the slide behind gallery, but just because YT Industries has a lot of cool pictures. So click add media and I'm going to find the proper folder, uploads, and we'll add some text, add some body text. And for the star of the show, the ending section, let's add in a cylinder gallery as well, just because it's cool and interactive and people like to spin it around in VR. We'll click add media again and choose the carousel assets that I have. Also set a nice background color here. I can do it properly and end with a big punchy title. So now if I go outside and click, we should also edit the background color for this section here, just to create a cohesive, nice experience. Click done, click save. And if we now go back to the story that we have, refresh it, you can see that we have all the sections tied together into a nice looking experience that was created in, I don't know, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, which is pretty cool. And for the coolest part of it, it works on desktop, it works on mobile, but I also have a VR emulator here. So if you see in the top right corner here, if you're on a VR headset, such as the Apple Vision Pro or the MetaQuest 3, you can also click Enter VR. And I'm going to open the sidebar because I have a VR debug view. So let's show you what you can expect. So if I click Enter VR now, this is what someone who's looking through a VR headset might see. I'm just going to show you one of the screens. So the VR cinema turns into a curved screen. It's hard to really get the feeling of what it looks like, but if I turn the VR headset, you're able to see that you're in a sort of environment. The way you navigate in VR are with these two buttons. So you don't scroll anymore, but you have buttons to navigate to the next section. So if I click one of the buttons, you can see that we enter the other section. And here we have the background, small decorative elements that really sells the 3D experience. Let me just enter VR mode again. Go to the next section. We also have the same with the depth gallery. It looks quite cool in VR. And I encourage everyone who has a VR headset to try to put it on and look at this experience and see what it's like. In VR, you also see the 3D model, but it's really up close and it looks cool with the reflections. And finally, if you get to the interactive part, you can also, for the Apple Vision Pro, use the hand gesture to pinch and drag around. Or on the Meta Quest 3, use the controllers to spin it around and look at it closely. For the depth gallery, for the slide behind gallery, you can see a big presentation of the images, which is cool and immersive. And finally, for the cylinder gallery, you're able to spin it around or just behold and take in the view. So here would be a nice place to have a call to action to actually go to your cart and buy the product. So yeah, that is in essence how we created the YT Industries. As I said, it goes quite quickly if you already have the assets ready and know what you want to make. Otherwise, you can just experiment, and do whatever you want. One last mention is that if you want, you can also add a hotspot by clicking here, just selecting a place in the scene and place it. You can then choose if you want to adjust the alignment by clicking and dragging the handles. And you can add content here to the hotspot title and hotspot text. And that is in essence how you use immersive elements and how we used it to create the YT hero experience. And we think it's really cool how it empowers merchants and creators to create something that is a bit more in-depth. And our passion is storytelling, so we want to spread that to as many people as possible.
Thanks. This already got me excited to start building a shop layout now.
Right.
Great.
It is really cool.
Yeah. And it comes within the commercial plan. So if you are in Rise, Evolve, or Beyond, you can use the app already right now. And for commercial edition, you can purchase it just like any other app via the store. Other than that, I would just thank you for your attention and thank you for your time and wish you a wonderful day.